and welcome back to Reflect Forward. I'm your host, Carrie Siggins. Happy New Year. I hope you are having a great start to this fresh, new, hopefully amazing 2022 that is ahead of us. I think it's going to be a great year, despite the challenges that I know that we will all face. But, challenges make us better. And I think that there's going to be some really, really great things to come in this next year despite the challenges. So those challenges, right? Those challenges that we know that we're going to face, I think they bring fear. They cause us fear. And that's what I want to talk about today. How do you overcome your fear? We all have it, and some of us can use it as motivation to really propel us forward. And some of us are held back by our fears. And no matter what, whether we use it as motivation or we let it hold us back, fear can be a pretty nasty companion. It can make us feel anxious and be filled with self doubt. And it's really about what we do with that fear that either propels us forward or holds us back. And so I want to really encourage you to make fear your friend. There's nothing to say, I'm trying to get rid of my fears or overcome my fears. No, we need to embrace our fears and make fear a friend because there's always going to be something that scares us. But being scared means that I know that you're about to do something really big, really meaningful in your life. And to be able to step into that discomfort and make fear your friend and take action and move towards what you want in life, that is how you change your life forever. I know I've done it a million times, most notably when I left Austin because I was a complete mess and I was so scared. I didn't know how I was going to get a job in Durango and how I was going to start my life over, but I knew that I needed to leave Austin and I did. I followed my heart and my whole life changed. I took that step into the unknown. I embraced my fear, even though I was broke and had no job, and came to Durango back in 2006. And look at life now. That can happen to you too. So, I want to share my tips for embracing your fear, embracing your insecurities, in hopes that it will inspire you to step into that discomfort and move towards what you want. So, the first thing that I suggest doing is ask yourself, where are your fears coming from? This is really important. Are you feeling insecure about something? Are you afraid of failure? Are you afraid of rejection, being embarrassed? Understanding that driver of your fear will help you put it into perspective so that you can step into it, embrace it, and still take action. So, a lot of my fear comes from fear of failure or fear of rejection. And so when I'm feeling that, I ask myself, what is the worst thing that can happen? And often it's not that bad. Now, some risks that you take in life certainly have bigger consequences, and there are things that you can do to minimize that. But it still helps by asking yourself, what's the worst thing that could happen? So, are you afraid of putting yourself out there? What's the worst that could happen? Well, you get embarrassed. I mean, have you been embarrassed before? Probably. Was it that bad? No, we all get over it. Like every human being feels embarrassed, and we probably shouldn't be because, for the most part, no one is actually paying that much attention to us, but we still are so afraid of being embarrassed. We're afraid of being rejected. Okay. Well, there's 9 billion people on the planet. If you're rejected by a few, is it really that big of a deal? Probably not. Fear of failure. Well, examine all the places that you have failed in your life and what good has come out of it. How have you learned? How have you grown as a person? Don't be afraid of failure. Failure makes us better. Examine where that's coming from. I would say that if you're not going to hurt somebody, hurt yourself, die, or do significant damage to relationships in your life, the worst that could happen probably isn't that bad. Being embarrassed, being rejected, and even failing is not the end of the world. The next thing I do is I ask myself, what's the best thing that could happen, right? I flip that fear of failure, that fear of rejection, those worst things that could happen upside down, and I ask myself, all right, if you're successful at this, what good can come from it? So I suggest you do the same. If you're feeling like fear of putting yourself out there, and you're afraid of that rejection or being embarrassed, what's the best thing that could happen opposite of that? Well, your idea could be accepted. Somebody could applaud you. You could get that promotion. You could meet somebody new. If you're afraid of taking the risk because you don't want to fail, well, you could really succeed. You could change your life. You could change the lives of people around you. And when you balance the fear of the worst thing that could happen with the best thing that could happen, I can almost guarantee the best thing could happen will outweigh the negative part, would outweigh the worst things. So make sure you look at those two perspectives. Then I ask myself, what can I do to get more comfortable with the situation? All right. So ask yourself the same thing. How can I get more comfortable? I really want to speak my mind. I really want to share my idea here. What could make me more comfortable? Practicing with somebody, role playing with somebody. Okay. Go role play with somebody. If you're getting ready to take a big risk, maybe you need to ask some more questions. Maybe you need to have a plan B so that if it doesn't work out, you know what you're going to do next. Maybe you need to do more research to get more comfortable with it. There's always things that you can do to say, okay, how am I more prepared for this? And how am I going to be ready for whatever curveball's thrown at me as I take the step towards this new life or this new way of being or this new way of thinking or this new way of showing up that I know will make my life better? Then take action. Even if it's just one small step, the best antidote for fear is taking action. Every time I have been scared of something in my life, when I have just made one small step, I have realized I can do more. I can take another step. That step wasn't so bad. So don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Take that little action and just do it. Don't be afraid to take a risk. Take that first step and see what happens. It's good to make bold moves in your life, especially if you want to disrupt your life, if you want to disrupt your industry. You cannot let fear hold you back. There's always the unknown. We have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow. And we think that living status quo, we think that, oh, if I just do X, Y, and Z, I know what is going to happen the next day. And that makes me feel safe. But we really don't know what's going to happen the next day. The next day could be the last day for any of us. So why let fear hold you back? Step into it. So you want to change your life, do it. You want to speak your mind, do it. You want to grow your business, do it. You want to acquire a company, do it. You want to make a huge difference in someone's life or impact on the world, do it. Take action because today could be your last day. And why would you want to let being scared of failure, rejection, embarrassment be the reason why you don't do something? The only way to get good at doing hard things is to do hard things, and you can do hard things. I swear to God, I am going to get on Glennon Doyle's podcast. You can do hard things since I talk about this so much, but I totally believe it. And I love that podcast. As you push yourself, you will expand your competency zone. It's not about getting outside of your comfort zone, it's about expanding your competency zone. Every time we embrace that fear and make fear a friend and take action and do something, we expand ourselves. We expand that zone of competency. We get better at doing hard things, or we learn that's not how I want to do it. And I'm going to change directions. I'm going to change my approach. And that is a really valuable thing to know. And as you do hard things and as you see, like, I can do this and I can overcome being embarrassed, being rejected, I can learn from failure, I can laugh at myself, I can be okay with other people laughing at me because it's not the end of the world. You will gain more confidence and you will lose that baggage that's holding you back. And I think this is a really, really important way to start 2022 as you were thinking about your life, as you're thinking about how to be a better leader, as you're thinking about how to grow your team, scale your company. We cannot let fear hold us back. We have to use it as a motivator and we have to get comfortable with it as a companion because it's always there. Make it your friend. All right. That is my start to 2022. Hopefully that's really motivating for you. And yeah, I just want you to make 2022 such a great year. It's going to be fantastic. I just know it. Okay, question of the week comes from somebody on LinkedIn who asks me, how do you define leadership? What does leadership mean to you? And this is interesting because there are so many different ways that I could answer this, but I think that For me, leadership means caring about other people first, investing in other people first. I believe deeply in helping people understand who they are and how their talents fit into the organization and how to give them opportunities to try new things, develop new skills, and grow personally and professionally. This is, in my opinion, the best part about being a leader. I love it when I see people on my team excel. I love it when I see them figure out something about themselves. I love it when I see them embrace the fear and take a risk and step into something new and learn and succeed. As a leader, the most important role you have is to build a strong team. You cannot be successful unless you are surrounded by a strong team. And I think a lot of leaders put this as a lower priority, but it is critical if you want to grow and scale your career or grow and scale your company. And to do that, you've got to invest in your team. So then, once you've invested in your team and you are helping them learn new skills and grow personally and professionally, you've got to make sure that they are in the right roles. You need to align their talents with the job that they do. There is nothing worse than coming to work every day and doing something that you are only ever going to be mediocre at. Don't do that to your teammates. Don't do that to your employees. Really work hard to understand what they're good at and align their roles with what they do every day. They will be happier and more engaged and be fulfilled at work rather than being drained, going like, ugh. Like, for example, I'm terrible with spreadsheets. I hate spreadsheets. I'm a highly analytical person, but not in the true sense of, I don't know, what like your CFO would be, how a CFO would be analytical. If I had to live in spreadsheets every day, I think I would like die a slow death. And I know that. I know for a fact how miserable it was because I've done that as my first job, and it led to all kinds of horrible things in my life because I was so unhealthy at work, which translated to being unhealthy in life. So that's really an important thing to do. You can't invest in your people, but then have them in the wrong roles. So, those are my thoughts on what leadership means to me. I truly believe that there's nothing more important than building an exceptional team made up of exceptional people. You will not go far in life as a leader if you don't have great people and great teams. So, that's my answer for the question of the week, and I really appreciate it. Hopefully, that gives you some food for thought. So that is it for this first episode of 2022. I hope it was motivating and inspiring to you. And if you like this podcast, please like it, write a review, rate it, share it, tell a friend. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a fantastic week, and I look forward to hosting you next week where I interview a fantastic person who has been in all kinds of interesting leadership positions. YPO is doing some really cool things with a big coaching organization, changing the world and changing the way leaders think. So you don't want to miss my first interview of 2022 next week. Take care. See you next week.